As an ER nurse, I've seen firsthand how many people struggle with their health and often neglect to take responsibility for their own wellness. This experience has fueled my passion for diving deep into topics that help us understand ourselves better, remove shame and guilt, and develop self love and self compassion. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce our guest, Tessa Arnold. Tessa is the co founder and COO of Snapback Energy and the founder of the Balance of You company. She is a passionate advocate for holistic wellness, integrating the mind, body, and soul connection into everyday life. In this episode, we will dive deep into the 6 pillars of health, a concept developed by Tessa that emphasizes the importance of a holistic approach to wellness. We will also explore her personal journey of self discovery, the challenges she faced, and the strategies she used to overcome them while developing self love and compassion. So get ready to be inspired and learn practical tips for incorporating holistic wellness into your daily. Tessa, welcome to Life Without Secrets.
Thank you so much. All of that. I was listening. I was like, I want to hear this. I was like, it was just,
Right?
thank you so much. This is incredible. I'm so happy to be here. And yeah, to really have a real conversation and break it down.
Yes.
Break it down.
That's what we're here
Yeah.
for. Like we love to dive deep, get real, get to know each other and get to really know ourselves on a deeper
Right.
level, right? So that we can connect with ourselves and then go ahead and connect with others, right? So I would love, to start with, the fact that many struggle with their own health, with taking responsibility for their own wellness, or the idea, or maybe they're not familiar with the idea of truly taking responsibility of their own wellness. And I think it's just really crucial in the time period we're in today. Our healthcare systems are really overwhelmed. I work in them, I see this every day. And so I think I love your concept and I love to give a spin on you know, the ER is there when you need it, but what are you doing in your daily life to take responsibility of your own health? So, I'd love for you to start by explaining, your 6 pillars of health and why understanding and incorporating them into our lives is really essential.
Absolutely. So, a couple of things there, just to preface and to start. I think everybody listening, we need to understand that we are unique. Each and
Mhm.
every one of us. There's nobody else like us on this planet. And that's where we got to start in stage left, the love. The
Yeah.
love we need to start pouring on ourselves. There is nobody and on this entire earth that looks like us, that thinks
Mhm.
like us, that does the things the way that we do, that hugs the way that we hug, that smiles the way that we smile, that has the voice that we have. So I want you all to hear that and really wrap it around you like a warm hug, because that's
Mm.
where we're going to start today's discussion. It is that in a nutshell. I tell my children that. I tell myself that on the daily when I'm starting to feel low, because this is not a prescription that I'm going to give you and it's going to be one pill that you take, it fixes everything. This is a practice. And
Mhm.
that's what everything that you and I are going to talk today about is. It's a practice that you've got to keep up, but it's based because the fact that you love yourself, you want to continue to do it.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. And that's what I needed to get back to. I was at a place in my life where I was pouring on everybody else. And I'd
Mhm.
forgotten how important, precious, and cherished I was and how I needed to be the one who was loving on me, and I needed to start doing it now. And I had to figure out what that looked like. And I wasn't going to go on a fad 30-day cleanse, purify, treat. I tried them all. Don't worry. I
Mhm.
did diet, this and that. I needed something simple that I could put into my life every day that wasn't going to break the bank. It wasn't going to stress me out. It wasn't going to be something that I didn't have time for. It was going to be something that I just knew to be true. And that's how I literally stumbled upon the Ayurvedic practice. Yes, I was on a retreat. So I had to go do something for myself. Um, so I finally threw my hands up in the air and said I was going to go away for 5 days, start to love on myself a little bit and figure out what that meant for me. And I stumbled upon, the Ayurvedic practice, the science of life and the 6 pillars of health. And I formulated in that such a way that this needs to make sense in my life. And it really did. And I say that because it's things within your life today. It's nothing that you need to go out and buy. It's nothing that you need to determine is important to you because I'm telling you that it is. It is the sleep, right? For foremost and forefront, quality sleep, not just sleep, quality sleep. It's the nutrition. Feed your body, love your body so it can love you back. And that in society is one key point that we'll circle back around to, but it's what we're ingesting. And I'll just sit on that for just a moment. It's what we're putting into our body, through nutrition. And I talk to moms all the time too, who will prep for their kids, make this beautiful meal, but then they'll be on the run and just have to scarf something down that has like super high sodium or a
Yes.
lot of caffeine or a lot of sugar in this. And then they're like, I feel crummy and I can't do it. And I'm like, you are more important than anybody
Yes.
else, right? Because you're the one who holds everybody together. You're the glue. You've got to be strong so you can be strong for other people around you. So we got to make that a priority. Whether you're packing the right snacks or making the meal prep or this and that, we got to find how you can make time for that because I need you to love on yourself through what you're eating a little bit more. And then
I
we'll
can
go
I
in.
can
Yeah, go
totally
ahead.
relate to that too because it's interesting that you're saying that. I literally this morning, July was a really busy month. We traveled a
Yes.
lot. And then my
Yes.
husband and I were celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary just this last weekend, and we were traveling with friends and we were going and eating at all the favorite places around the area we were in. And we got home and I was like, I feel like I need a detox. Like,
Yes.
like my face is breaking out. Like I'm feeling like my nervous system is
Yeah.
overreacting to things, and I'm like, I
Mhm.
feel like I need a detox. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eliminate sugar for, a little while and I'll ease back into it with a healthy sugar
Right.
because no, my body just needs a detox from all the things I was doing. So yes, I felt that. I felt slow.
Yeah, you do. But
Yeah.
you were in tune with your body because you had already started the process. So to everybody listening, this isn't meant to overwhelm you. The six pillars was a way to introduce it in simple formula that we could understand, right? So you could be feeling, okay, this is me, and we haven't really started the conversation, but I'm feeling a certain way. I'm feeling sluggish in my body. For
Mhm.
me, my weight would fluctuate.
Mhm.
I was probably 20 pounds heavier than I'd ever been on my frame, and everybody's body's different. So that's why I don't share weight because it's going to
Mhm.
be a different number for everybody. But I felt, that feeling where it's almost like you're wearing a suit of yourself that's super uncomfortable. And I was so
Yes.
uncomfortable within this beautiful body that I was given for this life experience that I was like, this isn't how it's meant to be. We're meant to be in ourselves and feel so comfortable within ourselves that we don't want to be anywhere else, right? And that's how we keep up that consistent love. We are meant to feel good in this beautiful body that we're given. We are. We're not meant to live in a state of uncomfortable, just unwell,
Mhm.
feeling incredibly sluggish, feeling unenergetic, feeling depressed, feeling this way,
Yeah.
feeling that way. We shouldn't feel in a constant state of just chaos within ourselves or pain or agony. And yes, there's definitely health things that come up that we'll address. But when you're talking about just how you are at a plateau level, are you feeling good within your body or are you feeling, unease? Are you
Mhm.
feeling just a heaviness? Are you feeling uncomfortable? Because for me, when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see myself. I didn't recognize myself.
Mhm.
And even moving around was uncomfortable and I felt lost. And that's where I had to stand up, literally, because I think I was probably sitting on the bathroom floor saying, I give up, being like, okay, well, we got to figure this out, you and I.
Mhm.
Talking to
Mhm.
myself in the mirror, and that gave me hope. And then I started to, on the journey, doesn't happen overnight, unpack after, hills up and down. What was the six pillars of health? And so we talk about the sleep, we talk about the nutrition, and then we talk about movement.
Mhm.
Movement's a beautiful one because I'm not going to tell you a simple formula that's going to work for everybody. No, we're going to have a personalized prescription to what that movement looks like for you. And it's a complex nature of different movements that you simplify. So it's a movement when you need to move emotions through your body, right? Thoughts in motion. That's what emotions are. If you are feeling uncomfortable and you need to move some stuff through you so you can better handle how you're showing up in the world and not emotionally driven, I'm going to tell you to go out for a walk and we're going to walk
Mhm.
it together. We're going to walk it out together. If you want to build strong muscles, the muscles that feel good on you so you can lift up your babies and lift up the people around you. Well, there's certain ways we'll do that based on a personalized prescription that works for you. I like yoga. It works for my body type. It works for my dosha. It works within my Ayurvedic profile. I love it, but it's not just because of the physical aspects. It's because of the active meditation that I can get into. It's the thought patterns. So we'll create this beautiful prescription for you when we get into the movement, right? And then we get into the breath, which I
Mhm.
love. You mentioned something earlier about the nervous system. And
Mhm.
I love that. We could talk about that for this whole show.
We totally could.
You know, it's like you tapped into that, and I love that because a lot of people can't name what that is. Our bodies are these magical things, you know, and it's a lot of science in there. And it is a
Mhm.
powerhouse of beautiful things. And it can go 0 to 100 and it can do amazing things for you. But we have this nervous system, right, that's running through it. And you have your sympathetic or your parasympathetic nervous system. And we as a society, and I'm just going to put a blanket statement because I feel like doing that and I do
Yeah.
pretty regularly, that we stay in our sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, freeze
Yeah.
constantly. What a way to stay. No wonder we have inflammation chronically.
Yes.
No wonder
Mhm.
inflammation is the key that's going to take you into all of those long term health problems.
Yep.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's one of the things. Stress, right? So
Yeah.
if you are constantly being triggered by the environment around you, by sensory overload, and we can talk about that more, then sure, there's going to probably be some health problems that are going to come up. It's also going to affect your metabolism. It's going to affect your immune system. It's going to affect everybody. It's a snowball effect. What can automatically take you out of to a sympathetic to a parasympathetic nervous system or a state is your breath.
Mhm.
That's it. I didn't sell it to you. You didn't have to go buy it. It's what's keeping you alive right now. It's just your beautiful breath.
Yeah.
It's just that. We have shallow breathing that we constantly do. Oh, we're doing it right now. I'm doing it right now because I'm talking so much, but it's just this little lung breathing where we're filling up just our lungs and we're just having it go back and forth between our lungs out of our mouth through our nostrils. But if we sit and we take that beautiful breath in, fills up your whole body, goes down to your diaphragm, it is literally like giving your body an internal massage. Oh,
Mhm.
it's euphoric, it's beautiful, and it's yours. It's yours.
Yep.
Take that anytime you want. My kids see me do that all the time.
Yeah.
And they
That's
do, you
that's
know?
me too in the car. I'm like, they start arguing in the back seat and like, what's going on? Tell me about it. And then I'm like, let's just all take a deep breath.
Because mommy needs it. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Take it before your next big meeting, right?
Mhm.
Take it before you walk out on stage and deliver that speech that you
Yep.
know you're going to nail. Take it before you are really scared to have a conversation with your partner over something that, boundaries or
Mhm.
something that's not working for you or a family member. Take it before the hard, take it before the good. Just take your,
Mhm.
it's yours. Use
Yeah.
it. If we spent more time just pausing to breathe, it'd be a much happier world out there. I'll tell you that before we make that next decision, before we say the next words that we can't take back, that we might have to apologize for later, breathe. It's yours. It's free. You can do it right now. And so we really hone in on breath a little bit. And that, if that was all that I gave to anybody, and when I talk to them and my clients about the 6 pillars of health, that's enough.
Yeah.
But we can take it even further. We can do, right and left nostril breathing. We can really energize your brain before you go into your next big conference call. We can take you down into a sympathetic nervous system to a parasympathetic right before you go to sleep. So when you have that monkey mind and all that chatter and you're in your sympathetic and you can't sleep and you're having what you might, describe as insomnia or just overthinking mind or chatter and you're starting to you pick up the phone,
Mhm.
you turn the TV on. Say, let's not. Let's
Mhm.
just have some extended exhales of your breath and let's try and sleep. And more times than not, you keep practicing that, you're gonna get it to sleep. And we find, then we move into slowly and gradually into emotional needs. And those have kind of been tied into what we've already discussed. Let's walk it out, let's take
Mhm.
a breath before we say that next thing or take that next action. Let's make it intentional with how you want to show up for yourself now and your future self. And let's talk about emotions. They're not bad things. Let's talk
Mhm.
about trauma.
Yeah.
Let's talk fear. Let's talk about boundaries. Let's talk about healing. Let's talk about crying. Let's talk about all the things. And we delve into that. And then we look at one of my personal favorites, which is self care. And we get rid of the faux pas of what self care is. It's not a once a month massage, right?
Right.
No, this is self care that umbrellas everything that we've talked about thus far. It's taking the time to take a detox after you've been traveling,
Mhm.
right? It's taking a time to unplug, to say, Mom's going out for a walk, or Dad needs 5 minutes to himself.
Yep.
Or I've been with my family traveling on vacation all week. I'm going to go be, nobody can reach me. I'll be unreachable for 2 days because I need to go recharge. It's recharging your personal battery in a
Mhm.
personalized way. And it's something that you do as much as you can, as often as you can. And that is not selfish. Self care is not selfish. It never will be. Those two words do not go together. It's actually one of the unselfish things you can do. Because when you properly care for yourself, you can properly care for the world around you and the people that you love.
Yeah, and not only that, but when we take care of ourselves, we can better respond and not react
Yes.
to all the situation that comes at us, and then we get that increase in our sympathetic nervous system again because we
Yes.
haven't taken the time to
Yeah.
recharge our batteries, right? And so it's not only beneficial for us, I think it's beneficial for everybody around us too,
Right. Right.
you know?
Exactly. They like the you that's taking care of yourself. They really
Right.
do.
So a few things I want to touch on is, for me, this was the first time I've heard the word, and I don't even know how to actually say it. Ayurvedic.
Ayurveda.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I
I'm
had
like,
to.
yeah. So tell me about that. Like,
Yes.
what does that mean? This is like a first for me and probably others listening. So, like, what does that mean?
Sure. So it is a body of knowledge. So Ayurveda is loosely translated to the science of life. And I love that because I love
Mm-hmm.
science.
Me too.
I love delving into the way things work, the breakdown of it, getting down to the real simplicity of physics, if you will.
Yes.
Because we're all interconnected, everything is, and there's energies all around us. It's the way
Mm-hmm.
the world works.
Totally.
And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we can really start to build an environment that is conducive to peace and healing for ourselves first and then the people around us. And I mean that in a just, it's always going to be chaotic. And unless we go sit in a cave, we're going to have that
Mm-hmm.
sympathetic, parasympathetic, we're going to have reactions, we're going to have stress. But you can always continue to keep that calm within yourselves as long as you're aware of what's going on and
Mm-hmm.
taking care of yourself. So Ayurveda found me. The
Mm-hmm.
Ayurvedic lifestyle found me. It dropped in my lap, and I was like, no, no, we're good, literally. And I was like eating the food and looking at the process. I skipped the meeting I could have gone to around it. I was like, no. And then it kept coming up for me in a way that I was like, all right, this just makes too much sense. I was
Yeah.
like, and things that are logical, that's in my wheelhouse. And
Mm-hmm.
then things that are just can't, are intangible, that make too much sense, I'll take too. I was like, I'll do a little bit of both, but this was too logical. And then I started to delve a little deeper, and then I couldn't stop. And then I started to incorporate the six pillars of health and the lifestyle and the doshas. So everybody has a composition of our bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we
Mm-hmm.
have our DNA, we have our horoscope signs, we have, our, are we male, are we female, who are our parents? You can go into all of the chemistry and the dynamics of who we are metaphysically. And then this also is an idea of a dosha. So a composition of how you run on a level of your body. And you
Mm.
have your dosha was conceived at birth, right? You could be by dosha, and there's just three of them. So it's not overcomplicated. I was like, okay, don't lose me here. I was
Yeah,
like, I
yeah. I'm
need
like, tell
something
me more. I
simple.
don't know
I
that
know,
either.
I know. So I went in and got certified to be an Ayurvedic health coach. So I really delved into it and understanding the composition of the body and how it works, how we run, hot, cold,
Mm-hmm.
fiery, cool, grounded, really flighty in a beautiful sense. I mean that in a beautiful way, energetic, sluggish, times a day. I'm sure you probably heard of circadian rhythms,
Mhm.
the sun coming up, sun going down, how we fall asleep. So it's this beautiful chemistry and physiology of your body, even from the sense of emotional processing and then digestion, right? Because we have the two brains. We have our brain and then we have our gut, and those are so connected. So I really delved deeper and deeper. And then I got into this body of knowledge, which is Ayurveda, the science of life. And it dates back to the East, 5,000-year-old body of knowledge. I'm like, okay, they might have something here. I'm like, well, look a little deeper. And I did. And I was like, yep, just makes a lot of sense. Too
Mhm.
much. I was like, I don't have to learn this and I don't buy into anything. I just know it to be true because it's our
Yeah.
bodies. And then I would find my composition. I'd be like, gosh, that's me. It's
Mhm.
me, to the point that I run cold, and I have Raynaud's disease. So my circulation is so
Me
bad that,
too.
yes, so the syndrome. So I lose circulation and I'm a
Yes.
Vata. It's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And I'm a Vata and I run my circulation whenever I get cold, runs so, and it will continue to get a little bit worse. And so I've found different
Yes.
techniques, but it's such an interesting way of how cool weather affects me. It makes me sluggish. My energy levels goes down. I
Mhm.
mean, it's like I can't right now, guys. I need to warm up.
Yeah.
And just understanding the dynamic of that. And when I get out of the Vata season and go into winter time, how to balance. I even go so far now as I like to have breakfast foods because it gets my energy levels really up there versus the cold and little
Yes, I
energy.
am the
So it
same way.
exactly. So it's crazy because you hear this, right? Just like I did. And I'm like, okay, that's me. But then you take it a step further. And I'm like, now knowing this, what else can I do to
Mhm.
make myself feel and really perform at my best? Because what does that best look like? How
Mm.
have I ever been at my best? What's my potential here? And it's really incredible when you start to understand who you are fundamentally individually and how you can really be the archetype of what this beautiful prescription of life looks like for you, and then put that into practice. And I have my good days and my bad days. Some days I'm like, yeah, I was on the run, I ate junk, I'm
Yeah.
sluggish, I'll do
Yeah.
better tomorrow. And
Right?
to know what it feels like to be back to that
Mm.
sluggish, uncomfortable nature, but to know what it feels like to perform at my best, I'm at my best pretty much
Mhm.
85% of the time because it feels so good.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah,
it's
I totally
it's
can
great.
relate. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is like building the awareness, right? Of
Hmm.
like what feels good, what doesn't, and then doing
Yes.
more of what does feel good to you. Like getting more sleep, like eating healthier, moving,
Yes.
like processing those emotions, like not holding them in, but healing or revealing to heal, right? One of
Hmm.
the things I want to touch on that you mentioned as well is the sensory overload, because I speak about this a lot because we live in a time period where this is really easy, and I don't feel like enough people are talking about it, right? Like we
Mm,
go on our computers, and this is for children too.
yes, yeah.
Like high schoolers are now, are supposed to act like executive assistants for a company, basically. Like that's what they need to be able to process all the things that are coming at them,
Mhm.
at such a time when their brain is so developing. And it's the same for adults. Like we're not built to process all this information that comes at us so much, like emails, text messages, social media, like not to mention what's going on in our environment,
Right.
stuffing our emotions down. And then we're just carrying all this. So I want to know, like, what do you do for sensory overload?
Mm.
What do you have to say about that? Do you feel similar? Like, is this a lot for us to process, and what can we do about it?
I feel very strongly about this topic. I actually
Yeah.
just released some information out on my social, which hit me like a ton of bricks because I was looking at my two children and then I was looking at friends who had, pages, young kids who
Hmm.
had pages, and it hit me that we are raising and now have generations of children who have this desperate need for recognition, and they don't know why.
Hmm. Yeah.
They have no idea why.
Yeah.
Why do I need to be recognized? Why do I need to be validated? But they don't know, but it's this constant push. And these young children have no idea, but they're being told that this is what they need because they're seeing it in the
Mhm.
environment around them. And then it's almost as if it's an addictive state to then have to continue to need the cycle of validation and not having the chance to look within and validate for
Yeah.
themselves. So I tell my kids, you are always enough. You
Mhm.
will always be enough. You have always been enough. And
Yeah.
that will never change. And nothing outside of you can give you that.
Mhm.
That is what you give yourself. And I'll go back to what I said when we first started the call. We were all uniquely gifted as
Mhm.
us. End of
Yeah.
sentence. Nobody's going to validate that for you. Nobody should need to. You need to validate that for yourself. No, nobody needs to look the same. They don't need to do the same things. We've created this now mentality that it's a constant repetitive regurgitation of all of these things, and I will never understand, because I
Mhm.
don't want that. I want the unique ideas and thoughts and images and people who look so different from each other
Mhm.
in a beautiful world, because that's the beautiful gift. It's like all the colors of the rainbow. If we were all blue, who what about all those beautiful shades of green that you see, or red or yellow? I don't want the same thing. And
Yeah.
I don't want my kids to ever feel that they should be or act or do the same thing as anybody else, and that's how they're going to get validated. So yes, I feel very strongly about this. I There's been studies that show back in prehistoric times when we would hunt and gather, that the notifications on a phone release the same chemicals that, and if you were being chased by an animal
Mhm.
and you were its prey.
Yeah.
That's the same reaction we get to when we get these notifications. We are constantly taken to our sympathetic nerve reaction.
Yeah.
We constantly feel, I mean, I would tell everybody, pause for a moment right now on the phone and think about this.
Mhm.
Can you go to a time today, yesterday, where that phone has gone off and you have felt dread? Just a moment of panic, dread. Oh no, I forgot to, I need to, I got to get
Yep.
back again for whatever reason.
Gotta answer that email.
Gotta answer that email. I just want
Mhm.
5 seconds. It would take put the phone in a drawer and walk. Since when do we answer to these little, you
Mhm.
know, I don't even, just people who are demanding our time all the time?
Yeah.
It is a computer. It is a thing. It's a terrible analogy, but it's like we are called users of this device. We're the users of this, and
Mhm.
that's what people call us. That's a terrible thing to be called a user. I want to be able to put this away whenever I want it, like a bike. I want to be able to put the phone down, walk away from it, and not have it control my emotions so much. We have gone terribly wrong with
Yeah.
this, and we have a lot to unpack here and a lot to rewire,
And
because
learn.
our minds are not capable of developing at the speed that technology can. And just because we could didn't mean we should.
Yeah. And, on that point too, I want to talk about connection because I really feel like we're in like a pandemic of loneliness.
Yes.
I see
Ugh.
this a lot, which is interesting because we're just talking about how our phones are going off all the time, our
Mhm.
emails. So you would think
Mhm.
like, oh, we're so connected, right? But like
Right.
inside, internally, people are feeling more lonely than ever.
Absolutely.
And like, so even in your own journey, right? Like, and I
Mhm.
want to go into that more after this and part of this
Yeah.
as well. But like, how did doing these 6 pillars of health in your own life then get expressed in your external world with connection? Like, were you
Mm.
able to connect with others better? Did you feel as lonely as you did before? What was it like for you?
Mhm. Absolutely. I would say, just like the shallow breathing,
Mm,
it's the
mhm.
connection that is shallow. It's not, we are
Yeah.
interfaces,
Yeah.
right? It's not deep. There
Yes.
could be, and I won't put a blanket statement that there's no deep, but there's no, unless you were picking up that phone and using the call function on it. I
Yeah.
mean, how many times do we just text?
Yeah.
We don't call. My grandmother, she's 94 years old. She texts, I pick up the phone and I call her because I want to hear her beautiful voice.
Oh.
I called my grandmother every month, my other one before she passed, and I miss that. I miss hearing
Yeah.
her on the phone. When I was in my 20s, I used to be like, all right, I got to call Gran, and I would dread it. I miss it
Totally.
so much, but I always did it. And I'm so grateful for myself that I had that beautiful connection, because we'd end up talking for an hour and a half.
Well, and
I,
to that point too, not to interrupt, but
no.
I was just reading a study the other day about like healthy teenagers. Like if you want more healthy emotional teenagers, instead of texting your kid, you should be calling.
Calling them.
calling them. That's like one of the keys to developing like a deeper relationship with your teenager.
Mhm. So
Interesting.
I'll take that a step further, and this will go into
Yeah.
my past. And I don't want to scare anybody, but we need a wake up call.
Yeah.
Is that we have a gift of today.
Mhm.
Tomorrow is not promised.
Mhm.
And I have lost enough people within my life I can speak to that as an expert, unfortunately. I lost, my father, tragic boating accident when I was
Mm.
12, and it was not, you don't plan for these things. And what I would give for another day of just a conversation
Mm.
with him, just an hour of conversation, but I already know what he'd say because I had the gift of the connection with him and the presence before I had any thieves of my time stealing it constantly. I didn't have all these thieves that I had to contend with. And then I lost my brother when he was 17 in a car accident. And
Mm.
again, I didn't necessarily have thieves, so I had precious, stored up, beautiful moments that I knew him. And we had memories and all of these gifts. And then I lost, my late ex-husband tragically, unexpectedly 3 years ago. And it's just, again, I have two beautiful children and I have our incredible bond that we have. And the moments that we are given is a gift. Your presence, your time and your attention is the most beautiful thing you can give to anybody.
Mhm.
It is, and you can't take back time. And I would say, think about the thieves of your time right now. What is stealing your precious time and attention? What's stealing it from the people that you love?
Yeah.
What if tomorrow was the last day that we all had together and somebody showed you, just type out a spreadsheet of the time that you've spent with these thieves of time, whatever they might be.
Mhm.
And you said, well, can I have that back now? So I could go spend it making memories with the people that I love or sitting and having a conversation with somebody. There's nothing more fulfilling than just listening sometimes. But how often do we do that from one another? When was the last time, I'd ask anybody listening, that you sat and just listened to somebody who needed you? And how did that feel for you when you left? What a gift it must have been for that person. Or is there somebody that you need to call
Mhm.
that you haven't? Or
Mm.
maybe you're feeling incredibly lonely right now, a loneliness that just tears you from the inside out and all alone. And I'd say pick up the phone. And if you don't know how to call, reach out to me. Send me an email. We can talk. We can pick. It's
Yeah.
fine. We
Yeah.
are in a desperate, desperate pandemic of loneliness.
Mhm.
And we as a society have forgotten what it is to be human because that's to be of service.
Yeah.
And it's to
Amen
be
to
of
that.
service to others. And gosh, man, does that feel good?
Mhm.
Does it feel good? So if everything in your world right now is feeling incredibly uncomfortable and you are at a breaking point, because I know I've been there, try and go be of service. Pack up a box for some kids who need it in the community. Go ask your
Love that.
neighbor, somebody who might need something, go rake there's no leaves on the ground, so you can't rake it, but go mow their lawn. Go water
Yeah.
their grass, go walk somebody's pet, go call somebody who might need it. Go for a walk around the neighborhood, see if you can be of service. Go smile at somebody randomly at the grocery store. They might think you're crazy because that's the world we live in now, that you can't just smile at people.
I
Go open
do.
somebody's door. I do all the time. You know what's so funny? They smile back. It's
I was just
contagious.
gonna
And I'm
say
like,
that.
"Oh."
It
They're like,
just
"Do I know you?" And I'm like, "No." And they love it, and their whole face lights
yeah.
up, and it's a beautiful gift. When
Yeah.
you get out of that car and you just got done crying, because we've all been
Mhm.
there. You wipe off those tears, you walk into wherever you're going, and you smile, and just do it. Just do it for me. Somebody's gonna smile back at you, and I promise it will lift you up.
It
This
does.
connection is needed, and it's needed now. And
Mhm.
we've gotta think about the thieves. Who's robbing us of this, right?
Mhm.
And you've gotta think of this loneliness because we've become so disconnected from the idea of self and who we are
Yeah.
uniquely and
Yeah.
individually. Because 'cause we're so lost with thinking we need to be something else. We need to look like something else. We need to be doing something else. And it's this constant keeping up of nothingness because
Mhm.
that's not the reality of it. We've become so separated from it. We're just not capable yet because we haven't gotten to the place where we can take it and understand it.
Yeah. I absolutely agree, and I think, it does. It goes back to having those 6 pillars of health on your side, getting to know yourself,
Yes.
having compassion for yourself. I think
Right.
compassion is huge, right? We've all struggled, we've all made mistakes. We all wish we could go back and fix that one moment in time or
Right.
relive this, right? But like having compassion for like who we are, what we've been through, and knowing that
Right.
like it gave us life to this point,
Yes.
I think is just huge. And, on that note, you have been through so much tragedy, the loss of like deep loved ones. And I
Yeah.
can't even imagine how that felt. But I also want to know, like, did that shape your passion for what you do now? Because
It
you see the
did.
importance,
Oh,
truly.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I am not a victim of life. I
Yeah.
will never be a victim of
Hmm.
life. I
Yeah.
won't. This is a gift that I've been given. And the memories that I have had and the time that I've had with the people that I loved was a
Hmm.
gift. And
Hmm.
the grief is the leftover love. I have screamed and I have,
Hmm.
just pounded my fist and I've asked why and I've gone through the stages of grief and I've done the work. And I will sit down with you and I will cry about it still if you'd like, or
Yeah.
anything else, because that is all part of the process. Because I have loved and I have
Yeah.
lived. It has
That's the
been,
essence of being human,
it
too,
is,
right?
and
They're
it's,
gifts.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's we're all human having a human
Hmm.
experience, and
Yeah.
that connects us all, and don't anybody forget that.
Hmm.
We're all here with you. I This is a process and a practice. I st I
Hmm.
still get down on myself. I still
Yeah.
have moments where I'm like, "Whew, that was a lot that has happened." That's I don't ask why. I don't,
Hmm.
because that's not necessary. I don't get to that point in my mind. I did for a long time,
Hmm.
but I no longer do. But I need you all to know that I might be at a place now, but that's not without falters. I can tumble right back down to that first place where I have a couple days where I'm really down on myself because I am human.
Hmm.
And I can get lost and then I can find myself right back in there again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, but wait. And that's the gift of having something that you can take with you all day, every day, that's always going to be there waiting for you when you do falter. It has been Man, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
It has been something else, but I pause and just as you mentioned, I reflect on where I've come from.
Hmm.
And I thank that person who sat in the bathroom and cried, who
Hmm.
had no idea what I was going to do, who looked in that mirror feeling shattered and torn and lost. And I give them a big hug and I'm like, thank you for
Yeah.
just sitting there with yourself and taking a moment of thank you for all the time that you stood up and you pulled yourself together with all
Yeah.
the strength that you had and you went into that meeting or you did that thing or you said enough and you left the job and that was so scary. It was your safe place, or you dealt with this or that. You got to love that person. The scars are beautiful, on the inside
Hmm.
and on the
Hmm.
out, and that makes you beautifully you, and you don't even know how you inspire people around you and you don't even know it,
Yeah.
you know?
So true. What has been like the most surprising lesson you've learned going through your own like self-discovery journey?
I think not understanding. I held on so tight to permanence
Mm.
and control,
Yeah.
and neither
I
one of those exist.
Yeah, I could
They
totally
don't.
relate to that.
Yeah, I was like, I just got to, everything would happen. I'd be like, okay, well, I can hold on to this so tight. And then it'd be like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
You know, just kidding. Or control. I can control all these things if I work just hard enough, if
Yep.
I plan hard enough, if I look the right part, if I get this haircut, if I do the
Yeah.
thing, if I get married, if I do this, if I check all the boxes, I'm going to have a great life, And it's
Mhm.
like, that's not how life's meant to be. It's a beautiful canvas and you're going to paint over it a couple times and you're going to splatter paint and you're going to spill and you're going
Yeah.
to start over. And it's a gift. And when you look at it at the end of it, you're spent and you're tattered and you're torn and you're aged beautifully and you have gray hair, you have no hair, you have, whatever it is, you have all of the marks on your body. And that is a beautiful trophy to how you have lived. It
Yeah.
is. And I think that's so surprising. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, this is temporary. This moment, whether it's the most beautiful moment that you've experienced thus far in your life, hold on to it. It's temporary.
Mhm.
Whether it's the worst moment that you have felt thus far in your life, it is temporary and it too shall pass. And I have no control over so many things within my life. And the only thing that's real is this present moment right now. So I'm not going to try and predict the future because that would make me go crazy. But I'm going to try and be intentional.
Yeah,
I'm going to try and show up as me because that's what feels best,
I love
you know?
that. Is there something that you would recommend for someone listening right now looking to start their journey like towards more holistic wellness and a deeper self-connection?
Yeah, absolutely. I this is going to sound for some this might sound very painful, for others it might. So wherever you are in your journey, it's exactly where you're meant to be. So please know that. And it is a process. I am continuing to evolve. I am different from the person I was 6 months ago. I am different from the person that I am 6 years ago. You could look at pictures. I'm sure they're up on my Facebook. Go search down that rabbit hole. You won't. I mean, I've changed. I've evolved. I've shed
Mhm.
skin, literally and physically. And I would say go sit with yourself. And
Mm.
I mean that literally. Go sit somewhere, wherever that is. Somewhere quiet and do not have anything that has a battery or it needs to be charged around you. People, no dogs, no animals, no nothing. Just I need you to be with yourself.
Mm.
And I want you to really take stock of how that feels. I want you to start at the top of your head all the way down to your toes. And I want you to close your eyes and sit with your body and I want you to see how that feels. And I want you to write those words down. And sometimes that could be really hard.
Mhm.
I do this regularly. I
Mhm.
do because I need to know what's going on within me. And that is a great place to start.
Yeah.
And then you can start to look into, even if you just look at what the title, The Six Pillars of Health are, take stock of what those look
Mhm.
like in your life right now
Mhm.
and start to see. And then I also have a fun, creative way of sitting with people and we sit in stillness. And then we go back and we think about, I want you to think about a memory over the last week, maybe a month, if it needs to be longer, of just the happiest moment over the last month. What brought
Mhm.
you the most joy, the most fulfillment? And we'll
I love
talk
that.
about that. And anything that comes up that's hard, let that go back into the stream of the past. It's fine. Let it go. I want the
Mhm.
happy, I want the fulfillment, I want the peacefulness, I want the moments that you're like, man, that felt good.
Mhm.
Because that's where we're going to start to cultivate more of that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so powerful.
Yeah.
I do a similar exercise and I always have them write it down and we call it their emotional playlist, kind of like,
Mm,
when you're needing to be in a good mood and you put on your like favorite jams
right.
on your phone, but we create like an emotional one of all those, memories or things in your present that bring you that joy and that
Right.
happiness is I think it is. It's so powerful. Well,
And
how can people connect with you and learn more about your work, services that you offer, like even Snapback Energy and the balance of you? How can people connect with you and find more about those?
absolutely. So you can email me at Tessa at Snapback Energy. You connect with me, send me any questions. Snapback Energy is a great supplement. You can check it out there, really supporting your whole body from the inside out. So that goes with the nutritional pillar. And that can be found at snapbackenergy.com. Balance of You Co. So that's balanceofyou.com. And you can email me at Tessa at Balance of You too, just depending on wherever you go, or just go out and I'm on the socials. You can find, reach out. Balance of You is going to give you the beautiful six pillars of health. You can go on and take the dosha quiz if that's something that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So you can go in there, check it out, and go through it and learn more about your dosha. There's great little sheets that you can print out, which is funny because you'll see them and be like, yep, that's me.
Yeah. I'm actually going to do that. I'm so
Yes.
interested. Yeah.
It's great. It's really great. So you'll be able to pull that down. You'll get a beautiful little sheet that gives you, even from what colors calm you to
Mm.
teas, smells, scented candles that you have in your house that really bring out that calm. It's all about balance. So we
Mm.
talked a lot about stimulation and sensory. It's about creating an environment around you that can help you balance, knowing the tools and the techniques to do that anywhere you are. So
I
yeah,
love
so
that.
definitely reach out.
Well, thank you, Tessa. This has just been such a treat.
Yeah,
I feel like I learned so much. I know our
great.
listeners did. Like, I felt like this was so soul fueling. Like, it totally filled my
Yes.
soul. So, thank you for coming
Oh,
on.
thank you so much. It was such a beautiful conversation.
I
And
really think so. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, to our listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Life Without Secrets. If you found value in today's conversation, please leave a review and share it with others who might benefit from these insights as well. And make sure to connect with Tessa. Remember, taking responsibility for our own wellness is the first step towards a balanced and fulfilling life. Until next time, stay well and keep embracing your journey with passion and purpose. Hey there, it's Jillian from Life Without Secrets. Ever feel like you and your partner aren't quite on the same page? Well, you're not alone, and that's exactly why I created our latest issue of Truthful magazine. It's packed with insights and stories about bridging that gap and finding a deeper connection. We're diving into real conversations about needs, feelings, and how honest dialogue can rekindle that closeness that you've been missing. Why not explore this together? Go grab your free copy right now at lifewithoutsecrets.com and turn those pages into shared moments. Can't wait for you to dive in and share your thoughts with me.